All right, guys, we're in part 3. I want to start this off with really fast and get really into the video. Part 1, we figured out the intro. We figured out that sock cap is he's a little intoxicated, and he basically ended very abruptly. We found that out in the first part, and he's very rude. He made personal attacks. He's just not very professional. He's a very, very, very condescending kind of guy, and he doesn't really prove a point. In fact, he uses his good old friend terminology a lot and fails miserably, and JellyKnees kind of uses it against him almost every single time. I skipped forward a little bit because he tries to make the same point over and over again and really fails, and it gets kind of boring. So, and this is the case where this is another thumbnail that I was posted. Again, I'm gonna, JellyKnees is the YouTuber. Check his video out. Subscribe, like to him, do all these wonderful things. I don't put bells on because I don't like the notification bull stuffy. We're gonna go into the comments in part 4, but they're great, brother. Anyways, okay, so let's go ahead and
improving their content pipeline by doing one hero each month.
I think it is because they're having one additional hero in the game.
So we can say that the gameplay is improving from an additional character, sure, but that is not them improving their content pipeline.
Okay, so like replay system, adding stuff like that, right? Like that doesn't matter. Like that's not an improvement to the game, or like what?
That's absolutely an improvement. But when you're promising 20 features and you deliver 17, then you promise 20 features and you're going to deliver 5, that's not an improvement. I gave you that specifically of between season 1 and season 2, they delayed 4 things in season 1, and now they've delayed half to 3/4 of the list in season 2. That is not an improvement.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm like played Fall. I don't know. I don't expect like any of these developers to ever hit their mark ever, because this is the first
That's
game
a bad
that they've
thing.
ever made.
Why? How can you say that and say that's not a bad thing?
Because I like understand that there's a growing period, that there's a learning period, right?
Then
Like
people, so where are they?
okay, so this is the point where he's trying to make, where Sockcap is trying to basically make, and this is the kind of good point where I've come across, right? Basically, when you start a business in a field, you go to school and you get all this prepping done. That's what traditionally you'd want to do, and you say you do all that stuff, you do all the necessary steps. Saying that you're not going to make a mistake is kind of bad. So here's where I stand in this regard, I'm sorry, not where I stand, but this is where Sockcap was trying to prove and where he stands. What Sockcap is trying to prove, we can basically say, is that like in these times when you first start a business, say a restaurant, and somebody all of a sudden says, hey look, this spinach wrap doesn't really taste good with this dressing, you should go a little bit more spicy. I think it would be really good it would match really well with the mushrooms or whatever. And you'd be kind of like, okay, yeah, I see that, take that as communication rather, and you get better with it, right? You're not going to get everything all the time, and not everybody's going to like your product either. So there's a lot of things to consider. So yeah, you made a promise about, let's say on every Tuesday when you first start, that it's all half off. Well, then you find out that it's cutting into your costs, and you really can't make changes, especially for that person that said, hey, should try to make it a little bit more spicy. So now, not only do you improperly communicate with your people, so there's a lot of things you could mistake on, right? I'm making a bad point because, wow, I suck. I'm not good. Have me on this fucking show, JellyKnees. I swear to God. No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, that's basically what he's saying. He's saying that you're going to make mistakes along the way, and it's okay to grow from that. Now, that's sure, that's great. That's fantastic. But the same argument could be made by saying that's not really a good excuse to the people that are dedicated to this and want to all these features that you promised. So yeah, I get where people were mad. I get where their points are. You shouldn't overpromise something, but that's very hard because you really don't know the limits yet. Now that you know, you're narrowing down the limits. After the UI, we'll basically see where they land.
Growing. If this is a growing period, where are they growing?
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Dude, Ethereal's been in development for like 4 fucking years when you were working with it, and it still has 8 heroes. That shit came out like there's 8 heroes shown off like year fucking 1, and then 3 years later we've still got 8 heroes. Like, I don't understand. What are we comparing this to? Like, the
Itself?
shit they're adding.
I'm not sure why you're attacking Ethereal when I'm asking you a question about Predecessor. Let's try and stay on topic here.
Okay, bro, I'm just saying that like 1 hero a month is like not bad. Once again,
But I'm not saying it is bad. Again, I'm talking about the whole. No, I am not. Well, you're on crack, dude.
No, you're.
He said you're on crack, dude. Oh my god. Okay, first of all, JellyKnees is basically saying that they are slacking, and it is okay to slack. It is all right. It is all right. Traditionally, it is okay. I want to tell you right now, it is okay. I beta tested Overwatch, World of Warcraft, all the big names, right? And a lot of the big names, sorry, not all of them, but a lot of big names. And I'm telling you right now, what they're going through is perfectly normal. In fact, I would say that they're doing fairly okay and actually identifying the problems and communicating. But from the point that they said the AI, the UI to the point of the predcast was a little too long. What JellyKnees is saying is that they need to be more on top of it. They basically need to be, more, they need to have more communication. That's basically all he's saying, really. Really, that's all it narrows down to.
You're saying it's bad. You're saying
better
that they
communication,
are just
not more,
doing
but
a
better.
piss poor job.
I did not say that. That's for sure.
Okay.
I said that they are at a stagnation point with 1 hero a month. That is doing consistently 1 hero a month is not improving your content pipeline delivery. That's true. What I told you.
That's true.
Okay, let's look up like when the Heroes in League were released. How about that? Let's
what?
Should we do that?
How about you stay in the game we're actually talking about, Sockcap? Actually answer the questions that I'm asking you.
Okay, all right. So you think that 1 hero a month is a stagnation period?
In terms of your content delivery system,
oh god,
they are doing the same thing consistently. That is not improvement, that is stagnation. When I'm putting a 1 in a column once a month, they are doing it consistently. That's great that they're doing that consistently. When everything else is suffering on the side, that's bad.
Okay. I would say that, like, let's say you're making like a steady profit, right, in a company, right? You're making a certain amount of profit that stays the same from month to month to month.
So you flatlined, which is a bad thing.
Would that, okay, so you would consider that stagnation?
Flatlining is bad. You want your charts to go up and to the right, up and to the right.
You are going up and to the right because you're making profit every month. It's a steady profit.
That's not up and to the right.
That's
if
not
your profit's
profit.
the same every month,
yeah, then
that is the same.
Flat.
That's not up and to the right. That is a flat chart.
Okay, maybe I'm retarded. I don't know. But so I'm just saying that, like, if you are consistently adding stuff to the game, I think this is like the position that I've maintained.
I'm gonna eat my pig skins.
Like, if you are trying to compete with like League or Dota, right? You have to have enough money to get you there, right? So
we're not talking about that.
Consistently release stuff and get to that point to where you have that like huge pool of heroes.
Go ahead. What? What's the point he's about to make here?
That huge amount of content, right? But you have to survive until you get to that point, which is, I think, like, hopefully Omega can do. I don't think, I'm gonna be honest, and I've said this before, I think that all 3 of these games will fail.
Goddamn.
Okay, I do not think that they will survive in the long term. I just don't think it's possible.
For what reasons? Why? So what?
I think it's too hard.
Okay, now JellyKnees is taking a piss out of Sockcap with his question.
To survive that long, to get that content out. But I will say, I don't expect them. I don't have unrealistic expectations of them. Like, oh, you need to spit out, like, you need to just diarrhea heroes out.
That's not what he's saying.
Content out, right? If you're telling me that a company like Riot that has 5,000 employees and an isometric top-down MOBA, right? Was like 2010, 2009, and they released a hero a month, and you're telling me that a fucking company with 100 employees is releasing a hero a month and going even with them, right? Even though Riot doesn't consistently release a hero a month every month, I'd say that's pretty damn good. That's what I would say. I'd say that's pretty damn good.
Okay, for character design, sure.
So I'm just saying that they need to have enough funding to survive until we get to that point, right? I don't know very much about investors, but I would say, once again, the same thing that happened with Fault. The lower the player base gets, yeah, that's pretty shitty for us, right? But for them, it's not necessarily a bad thing because they don't have to fucking pay very much money for servers. Their biggest expense is going to be the amount of employees that they have, right? At least what I know, right? So if they can deal with that and continue to pump out content and continue to subsist or survive off of the small player base that we have here now, then maybe we'll be okay. Maybe when it hits console, maybe that will be enough of a player boost to where we'll be okay. But like I said, I don't give a shit until it gets out to EA and they do free to play and a marketing push, and then we'll see where it's at that point.
Okay.
So why? Okay. The point that I was making is that they are not improving their delivery systems over time. That's where this started before that.
Okay, the bearded Wolverine, you need to calm the fuck down. I'm reading the comments while I'm doing this shit. You can calm the fuck down. Who gives a fuck about Mongoose? Who gives a fuck that you keep saying that? If you don't agree with JellyKnees, get the fuck out. Like, what? Yeah, what a fucking troll,
You
man.
went for the
That
last
rant.
couple minutes.
Yeah, sorry.
Right? No, you're fine. But that's where it was coming from, right? They're not improving their content delivery over time. 1 hero a month is not an improvement on your content delivery. So laying your features is a worsening of your content delivery.
It is.
And if it's the hero a month that is making that worse, that they're putting more focus on keeping the hero a month than on the other stuff, then that's a bad thing, right? Because you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul in a sense. And sure, there's an amount that having more employees can help that a little bit, right? But if you're not solving those problems, if you're not improving in early access, which is when you should be making those improvements to your back-end internal systems, right? And it's actively getting worse on the community side of things, which should be the last place that it's getting worse, because if it's getting worse internally, but it looks fine to the community side of things, then you have a little bit of leeway there. Wait, when it gets that your worsening of your content delivery systems show to the community, that's a bad
Well, look where he's explaining something right now for a good little while. Look at his mind. Look at his face. He's pissed.
thing that I think people should be worried about.
And it shows that he doesn't care. He does not care about this conversation.
Okay, so when the UI comes out for this game,
Okay.
right? The UI update comes out for this.
He still does a better job keeping the spice where it needs to be and not off topic. What? Okay, so first of all, we found out in this episode that in part 3 that the bearded Wolverine is a little troll. Like, shut the fuck up. Enjoy the content and get the fuck out. What? Who the fuck are you? 2, JellyKnees is making an interesting point, which they're very big concerns to be had, but Sockcap doesn't care. He does not care. Now we're at the point where he has more than insulted the host. He has shown that he does not care about the conversation. So, I don't know. We're going to find out on part 4, the conclusion and my take. All right. So, see you guys in a minute.